Hello, Virgo, and welcome to your November forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. We have Apollo right there in the background, hanging out with us as we're getting started today. First and foremost, I just want to welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well. This reading always helps you navigate the next month ahead, and you can use it for sun, rising, and moon sign. Let's go ahead and dig into the channeled messages. So as I was tuning into your sign, I was shown an image of a chameleon. And the first and the most obvious interpretation of this is flexibility. A chameleon can blend into any situation simply by changing the color of its skin. So you have the ability in this moment in time to wear a lot of different hats. If you're job seeking or just looking for new opportunities around you, never underestimate your ability to rise to the occasion or to blend into even the most challenging situation. So to me, that is a great asset. I also wanted to look at the flip side of this coin, which is it might be time to do something to differentiate yourself. So much like a wallflower blends in and a chameleon blends in, sometimes that means that people don't see, appreciate, or understand what you're contributing. So whether that's you in a partnership, like a relationship, and you get taken for granted, or you in a crowd of people where there's going to be discernment, someone wants to pick the star, this is your moment to rise up and be the star. So although the instinct of the chameleon is to blend in, the opportunity for Virgo is to stand out. So look at places in your life where maybe you've been muting your colors, your light, your true sense of who you are. And this month, let's not do it so much, because I feel the chameleon was kind of there to help us see that there is a time and a place, but I actually feel like this is your moment to step in the spotlight. And it's going to be extra helpful for those of you trying to vie for attention or recognition, whether that's advancement at a job, getting a job, trying to get someone's attention if you'd like to ask them out, whatever it is, it feels like you being able to stand out is key. So we'll look for that as we take a look at the cards here in just a minute. The other thing that I looked at, it was really interesting. It was kind of like a sardine can. Things were very tight. The quarters were tight. And for some of you, this could represent feeling like you need to sort of like break free, because that was a constricting energy. And also maybe there's some limits that need to be placed between you and someone else, because if you've ever looked at sardines in a can, they're very close to one another. So there's a lot of interesting individualism basically that's coming through for your sign. So getting out of cramped ways of thinking or living or being and allowing yourself to really shine. That's the big takeaway here in the channeled messages. So let's give the cards a shuffle and see what else is coming through in this month ahead. All right, Virgo, please take a moment to open your mind, open your heart, and let go of anything that is clouding the view. Imagine, if you will, a beautiful sunrise, the rays of the sun wrapping their energy around you, burning away any sort of fear, anxiety, or preconceived notions. Let's welcome in the angels, the spirit guides, and ascended masters. When you're ready, open your eyes, and let's get started here. Thanks again for joining. Let's see what this month has in store for you. I love that it closed here on the star card. We'll definitely look at that in a few minutes, but nicely aligned with what we were talking about in channeled messages. Interesting. All right, let's get started here. We're going to begin with the Catalyst, which says learn from the bees. So the Catalyst card functions as something to basically create a spark of change in your life. And this is a powerful message here because when we think of bees as a symbol, they're very organized, right? There's a hierarchy. We have the queen, of course, and this could be you this month, Virgo, but then around you would be this system of organization. Everything, everyone kind of has its place. And if you can get more organized particularly in your time and energy management, I think that's going to make the difference. The other thing that I would think about here is Hierophant and Six of Pentacles. If you're dealing with limited time, limited resources, or even limited patience, then it's important to really be discerning and be the queen bee. So Hierophant, and I would say like Queen of Pentacles or Queen of Wands, something that's really on top of resources and just in general, the boss. That's where you want to focus your energy this month. And I'm looking at this as well, and we see like this little bird cage that's opening up. That was also speaking to the confinement or the constrained energy. I think it's also an encouragement from Spirit to just allow yourself to go in areas that you normally wouldn't, whether it's creatively, professionally, romantically. There's something about liberating, differentiating, and just allowing yourself to be. No pun intended, but it came that way. A good pun occasionally is funny. But learning from the bees really is about organization and structure and you entering into that boss energy. It's also a good symbol because what do bees do? They pollinate. Pollination is a sign of abundance. Is there something that you want to focus your energy on, a project or something in your life that you want to see movement on? If you can use that balancing energy that we talked about with Six of Pentacles and really pinpoint your sort of focus, I feel like the sky's the limit, and I feel like you're going to sense a breakthrough. We have the number 7 on this, so this could also connect with the 7th of November. So keep an eye out that day and really stay organized. First, let's just analyze the overall spread, and then we'll take a card-by-card analysis. Overcoming a setback or an emotional block is going to be the first and most important thing that we look at today, and then really focusing on the future. Learning from the past, but focusing on the future. Pivotal, right at the center. We see the ability to see things pick up here with the Knight of Swords. This is what you want. So if there's been something that hasn't been working, we have a breakthrough energy here. We also have Judgment, which is a decision that you might have to make, a chance for you also to rise up and be that star. And I love that we have a resource card in the environment, particularly for those of you that are feeling a little bit of a crunch or a limited resource. And it is an upright page, so that speaks well to what's coming through. All right, let's go ahead and do it card by card. First things first, we're going to start with the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is reversed. That is basically just showing that healing is possible. It's already underway. For some of you, there is this feeling of being tied to something or to someone. It could be this idea of this is what I have to do because I said it back then. And maybe you've changed, grown, or just evolved beyond that original goal or vision. And so one of the things that you're doing is cutting yourself free from that limiting way. I can only do this. You can do much more this month. This is also allowing yourself to just deal with stress that might be going on in your life. It could be a friend or a family member, and it's kind of bubbling into you. So really, it's important there to have the boundaries that we talked about, but also just to do whatever healing you need to do and maybe to provide resources for your friend or colleague. The other thing here is this feeling of what I get here is why me or why isn't this happening? There's a frustration, and I think it is associated with speed. Something should be happening faster than it currently is. You want it to be something that it's not. So this is just about looking beyond what isn't. And again, if we look at what's crossing it, then we look at what can be or what is opening up to you. So the Two of Wands always holds a globe or a crystal, and it's basically about seeing the potential, the whole world of possibilities, not what isn't, but what may be. And this is also an encouragement to plan. So I mentioned that many of you are really good at organizing and structuring things, especially for others. This can be your job as a parent or as a friend or as maybe what you do for a living. But this is saying beyond that, beyond whatever the current job or distraction is, what's the big picture? What's next? And it's like one of those questions you get on a job. So I'm going to restructure it. Instead of like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I want to say, what does your soul really yearn to be doing right now? That's much more helpful. What is it that you feel like is missing or intriguing or inspirational in your life? I'd like you to feed that. I'd like you to look at places where you could reach for it. It's not yet in the person's hand in this particular illustration. I'm using the True Heart Intuitive. So whoever illustrated this for Rachel True chose to put it just within reach, but it's going to revolve. It's going to involve just a little bit of stretching on your part. And it's interesting that I said revolve, because we don't want all of our thoughts to revolve around what is or what isn't. You just want to, each and every day, move the needle closer to your goal. And then one day, possibly when you least expect it, synchronicity takes hold here. So the Two of Wands is a fairly imminent card. Three of Wands is showing like immediate manifestation. Two of Wands, it's just within reach. A couple days, a couple weeks. It's close. So keep on working hard. Try to move past any emotional blocks. And in doing so, you bring yourself closer to manifestation. Let's look at your deep past. This is what's been going on over the past couple of months, even the past year itself, since we have two. So the presenting card was the Queen of Pentacles. She is one of the best cards for being like a boss or parent, because she is nurturing, she is giving, she also has a way of helping everybody become more than they thought they could or achieve their goals. You can do that, but what are you doing to enrich your own life? So a reversed Queen of Pentacles, when I'm reading for you and I'm reading karmically, is personal enrichment and development. And maybe it's been something that you just feel like, well, I can't do that, or there's no time or money or energy. You owe it to yourself to do something just for you. This could be listening to podcasts, reading, taking a class or seminar, working with a mentor to overcome some blocks. This is going to absolutely help take that Two of Wands energy that we were just talking about and make it happen even faster, okay? Beneath this, we have a card of normally inspiration, but it could be fatigue or exhaustion here. Ace of Wands in reverse is vitality, but vitality that is tapped out. I don't think it's because of necessarily being overworked physically or on your schedule. I think it's emotionally and mentally. You're thinking a lot. So that slip of the word revolving, it wasn't a slip. I think thoughts are revolving around one area or one thing not happening, and we just want to let that go. This is also just overthinking in general. You all know that I have this math meme. If we start to worry about, well, how will this happen? Well, what will they think? Or why isn't it? It's too much. I'd like you to just take something and really allow it to take root, to kindle the flame of whatever it is that makes you most passionate. Maybe these two are tied together. You're deciding to go back to school, you're deciding to work on a passion project, you're doing something for yourself, home improvement, I don't care. Something that makes you feel stable, grounded, and again, that you're taking care of yourself. That's the first step. That's the most important thing. Coming out of your shell is what's coming through next. So we have Hermit energy in reverse. Take a little bit of time to learn, to go introspective and really figure out who you are. But at least around the midpoint of this month, we need the Hermit to come out of her shell and step into the limelight. The reason here is because you have a lot to offer, and you're closer to completion or closer to that developmental milestone than you might think. So give yourself half of the month, because the Two of Wands can represent a couple of weeks. This is representing wisdom, but it's also saying too long in the hermiting state actually just kind of, it gets you into that spiraling energy that we were just talking about, worrying about things, okay? Learn from the bees. Take a short break and then get back to the task at hand. All right, let's look at your crowning card here, Five of Swords. Probably one of my favorite illustrations for this. We're not focusing so much on the scene itself, but how it feels. Here's what Five of Swords basically represents. There could be a person in your life that no matter how much you try, it's not enough. There could also be just a voice in your head that basically comes through, and it's an inner saboteur basically, and it's saying, you can't do this because you're not this enough, you're not that enough, or it just is overly practical. And we need to be dreamers sometimes. We need to reach for goals. And I want you to give yourself the time and the ability to just go for it, to keep reaching for a dream, for a goal, for an aspiration. Don't be overly practical. This is that inner saboteur coming through. Now, there's also just, you can't please everybody. So we see all of the swords pointing towards you. What happens sometimes is, like there may be people in your life that just lack accountability or follow through. They'll reveal themselves, but rather than getting angry or frustrated, this Five of Swords is just going to look at it and say, all right, I need to move on. The next card in this suit is Six of Swords. So if there's someone who you give advice and they don't listen to that advice, or they're always pointing the finger at you and never taking accountability, this month, distance yourself from that. That's the main takeaway here. And then when it comes to the dialogue that we sometimes have in our voice, those swords can represent different fears and thoughts. You're just going to say, I acknowledge the thought, but I'm not going to give it any more power. I'm just going to give this a shot. I owe it to myself to try, right? Once you do that, lo and behold, we see things starting to move faster. The Knight of Swords is ostensibly the fastest card in the minor arcana because it just represents rapid movement, speed, things that start to happen so quickly that you have to try to catch up. That's why the kickoff energy here with the catalyst was getting organized. And then that's going to help you prioritize when a lot of things come across your plate. So I think that your November is going to be busier than you think, whether it's just social calendar sort of things where you're invited a lot of places, or legitimately there's some work and other opportunities that are knocking and you have to keep up with the pace. So we're not even there yet, but this Queen of Pentacles in reverse card is showing that when we're looking at health and well-being, taking care of yourself is paramount because you need to be eating well, exercising well, and sleeping adequately so that you can then hit the ground running and keep up the pace with the Knight of Swords. All right, let's see how you're showing up here. We have a normally very social card, Three of Cups, but it's reversed. So for some of you, there is an encouragement, just like we were talking about with the reversed Hermit, to come out of your shell. And even if you're uncomfortable in social settings, you may find yourself an unlikely social butterfly. There could also just be a lot of things going on in your schedule, so you're not going to RSVP yes to everything, but you should say yes to some things. So picking and choosing your moment, picking and choosing your activities, and in doing so, you'll be able to make a bigger splash. But the key to success this month is networking. You may meet someone at a friend's party, at a graduation event, at a retirement party, a wedding, something that is just informal, but lo and behold, you casually talk to someone and they're like, oh, I know such and such, you should talk to them. So for those of you that are trying to make a connection, the only way to do so, or one of the more easier ways to do so, is to actually get out and about. If you're also someone who tends to want to have more privacy, maybe this is just choosing to do something in a professional sphere, saying, you know what, I want to join this club or this sporting event or this special interest sort of organization so that, one, I can do the personal development that we see in this card, but also it's strategic. You might widen that sphere of influence, plus you could meet a friend. By the way, if you're not looking for love or friendship, someone may still come into your life, and they may be a little bold about it. The Knight of Swords just comes up and says what's on their mind. So there could be someone coming through that's interested in working with you, in dating you, in connecting with you. And this is a month where it may be a little bit off-putting or surprising at first, but then think to yourself, I've been working to open up to see what's possible, and this is one of those possibilities. Let's take a look at what's going on in the environment. We have the wonderful Page of Pentacles coming through, and this represents welcome news, particularly when it comes to either money, resources, or opportunities. One of the things that you can really do this month is speak things into existence. Share your ideas. So the Two of Wands at the center, this is about making sure that you're brainstorming, that you're dreaming, that you're exploring the options. And then when the time is right, speaking up and saying, this is what I want. I have an idea. Here's how we can do it. It's also, in the best possible way, feeling stubborn, thinking, I've got this. I can do this. And you try something one more time, and this time it's like a breakthrough. So good news, good breakthroughs, good opportunities when it comes to time, energy, or money, but it does require communication. There could also be an opportunity where someone comes into your life and they say, what would you like? Or what do you think of this? And it's being prepared and ready in the moment to say, I'm glad you asked. This is what I have in mind. So you've got this. It's just a matter of being bold enough and secure enough to speak your wish into existence. This is also a really important time to look at your budget, to talk it over with your partner, with your coworker, and even just making sure that you understand what's going on. So talking about money, asking questions about it, also looking at your schedule and itinerary and making sure that everything has a right space and a rhyme and a reason. Like, are you doing something for a reason, or are you just doing it to do it? So everything needs to be grounded in purpose, and there should be a return on the energetic investment. I love what's coming through here in Hope Spheres and Opportunity. So we have judgment. Judgment represents rebirth, imagining something different, not being stuck. One thing that I've learned through many, many years of trial and error and just experiencing life in general is when something comes to a close, I embrace that. I don't try to kind of like continue to exist in that energy. And so if you can truly release someone or something and then say, okay, that chapter is closed, but there's a whole bunch of room in this book left to write. What next? What do I want to do? This is reinvention, and it is a chance for you to think outside of the box. So if you have been consistently having bad luck in a relationship, bad luck in different types of jobs, or even just friendships not going the way that you want, take a look at what hasn't been working and say, this time, let's change it up, right? Let's look at something different and not rinse and repeat. And that is the big encouragement here. This can also represent a second chance. It's something that I saw for Libra this month. It's also coming through for Virgo. But the Judgment card is looking at it with a renewed sense of optimism, new ideas. It isn't just trying the same thing. It's saying, I'm going to do this time, this way, because I feel resolute. I feel excited about this. It's part of your vision. Other things that Judgment is connected to. There may be things out of your control. So if you're working at a company, there's restructuring and the job no longer exists. It's hard, and it can be something for the moment that kind of like blocks you mentally because you're still trying to process that. But you also realize that was a larger chain of decisions. Now it's bringing through this opportunity for what? For you to explore options. So Judgment is an end and a beginning. Something closed, something wants to open up. And it's really encouraging you to see what else is there and see what else you can do. This is also sometimes a close call. So you may have had a wake-up call with health. There could be something or someone in your life that nearly did something and didn't, and you're like, I want to make sure that doesn't happen. So learning through a close call or someone else's close call and applying better habits in your life moving forward. And then finally, it's simply rising to the call. So we have our Archangel Gabriel here blowing the horn, saying, are you ready? This is what you came to the planet to do. So hopefully you're feeling more emboldened now, and also seeing yourself as a phoenix rising from the ashes. You're nobody's fool. One sort of like bump in the road is not going to derail you, and one setback does not define what the entire future looks like. It's simply there to help you look around a little bit. And this is really what this is about. Look in different geographical areas, because literally this person is holding a globe and looking at the different spaces. Imagine yourself in different roles. And when we're looking at this, it's not just work. It's like different things that you might be doing in life. Wearing a different hat, trying something from a different angle. When you can see it here in the third eye, then you're going to be able to better recognize the synchronicity when it aligns. So before we even get to the outcome card, I just want to acknowledge that and recognize that some of you have been through some challenges. Something may not have gone the way you wanted. The inner saboteur, or maybe even someone in the surrounding, has kind of come through and said, you know what? I don't believe in you. But this month, that actually is going to embolden you. And you think to yourself, well, I know I don't need to worry about that person, and this was out of my control. I'm going to focus on personal development, and I'm going to try something different. Change it up and allow yourself to step into the star. Now, we don't have it here in the spread, but the tower comes before the star. I can see some of the aftermath of the tower, perhaps with this Three of Swords. So again, something or someone fell to the side, but this is allowing you now to say, well, now I've got nothing to lose. Let me go for this. An upright star is connected to higher calling, higher self. And it's basically you doing what gives you the most passion and most fulfillment and doing an amazing job at that and other people taking note of it. A reverse star tries to change themselves for acceptance. And this is back to the chameleon. Thankfully, we're all pulling it together here. So the chameleon blends in. You're not meant to blend in. This is a month where I want you to explore standing out, however that might feel for you, whether that's speaking up a little bit more, doing things in your life with more sort of just passion, and being bold enough to not worry so much about what other people think. This is going to help you stand out, make a splash, and possibly connect with this Page of Pentacles, giving you that new income, that new resource, that new opportunity. Let's expand this a bit. We're going to go deeper into the areas of health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off with the energy of health, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit. We have a beautiful card here, and it basically is the fish, and it says subconscious, emotion, and fluidity. So it's reversed, and one of the things that's happening right now is you might be starting to understand some of the things that you've always been feeling or thinking, but they were kind of buried beneath the surface, buried in your subconscious. So it's coming to your attention. This is what I've always wanted. Why am I not doing it, right? Then we have emotions, and they want to bubble up. But for some of you, you've been really good at kind of like pushing them down, thinking, I'll deal with this tomorrow. I have too much on my plate. So when we're looking at it from a health perspective, this is potentially the most important of the three words. I think it's important to really do whatever you need to do to decompress. And if there's a lot of heavy emotions around you, whether it's someone that you're working for, someone that you're living with, or just the general environment, you might be in a space where there's conflict or there's chaos or something, you have to find your grounding and your zen and your center first and foremost. The last of the three words is fluidity. And because it's reversed, this is the, I talked about kind of being in a sardine can. It's putting things in a box, feeling like I just have to, and I think it's with the emotions too. If I just bury it, if I just hide it, if I just sweep it under the rug, it'll go away. This is a month where processing is so essential. So whatever it is that you're feeling, give yourself an outlet. Yoga, meditation, counseling, art, I don't care what you choose, but one of those is going to be really essential so that you have, again, the foundation upon which you can really build stability and then keep up the pace here that we see with that Knight of Swords. All right, let's look at the cards here and see what additional energies are coming through. Again, I look at the overarching like trigger points in your life that could affect your health. Anything that's going on, you should always work with a professional. All right, now with that out of the way, Three of Swords. This is, again, sometimes just overcoming pain or sadness or upset. And any number of things could cause that. Whatever might be happening with you, please pay attention to that and process it. Now, the Three of Swords is also a card that comes through when we are simply ready to let go and to move on. And so for some of you, you're ready to just close a chapter, and I want to applaud you and encourage you there. This can also be connected with cardiovascular fitness, and we can see the constraint here with all the swords and the sort of wires. So for some of you, you might actually just be holding stress, and this could be adding to like blood pressure, for instance. But it could also just be pressure and stress that are building up in your mind as well. So any sort of exercise or anything in your life that helps you decompress, we're going back to that, is really important. It's important not just for the emotions, but for the physical heart itself. All right, as we look in the deep past, it feels like for some of you there has been this feeling of lacking inspiration. And by simply deciding to invest in your own life, in your own passion, I think you can start to shift that or move that in a better place. So taking care of yourself. This is also a nesting card, and one that's associated with the home. So make sure that your office, your bedroom, your living room, wherever you spend the most time, that it feels comfy, that it feels safe. Take some time to rearrange things. Feng Shui. We don't talk about the energy of a space often enough, but it can be so powerful when it comes to healing and just feeling more inspired and more energized. So absolutely take a look at that. This includes, of course, the office space as well. Whether or not you work at home or in an office, traditional office, you want to make sure that everything is kind of lifting you up. Getting out and mixing and mingling. I feel like you have a chance this month to basically increase your social sphere. Even if it isn't a strategic thing, it's just for fun. That's a good thing. Three of Cups in the reverse is also saying everything in moderation, especially when it comes to food, drink, and celebration. So yes, I want you to get out and mix and mingle, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to overdo it when it comes to drinks or things of that nature. I think that the other important thing here is really to focus on the power of thought, positive thought. So whether it's High Priestess or Two of Wands, it basically shows that thoughts project into the environment. And the Five of Swords tends to be a card that deflates possibilities. And again, as an internal dialogue, and that's kind of where this card is showing up, it's a fear-oriented card, thinking, I can't do it because I'm not enough. And you can put a blank in front of enough. It can be smart enough, young enough, pretty enough. We all have insecurities. But this is something that you're seeing and projecting more than others are. And so the encouragement this month is to say, I want to do this, and I'm going to try this. And I don't have any space in my mind anymore for these fears. It's worth my best shot. And just give yourself the opportunity that you deserve to rise up, okay? So I think it's just self-defeating thoughts or inner saboteur energy that's coming through there. But if there is someone in your environment that tends to be negative or critical, overly critical, this is a time where you want to really ease in another direction. This is a wake-up call. Again, I gave examples before. It could be someone in your life that didn't take care of themselves, but you want to do a better job. Absolutely. This can also be a doctor saying you need to do this in order to live longer and be healthier. Take heed of that. And pretty much that's it. This is a manageable spread overall. It's more the wake-up call, the inner voice, and the stress management that kind of jump off the page. So I think we've covered everything that we need to. Let's move on now to wealth. As I was pulling cards, you probably heard me say, oh, that's interesting. You received the Coffin, and this represents potentially feeling stuck. But remember, if we look at the spread here, you have Judgment coming through. I'm going to show you the traditional card, and you'll see why I thought this was very interesting. So in the traditional Judgment card, lo and behold, we actually have souls, what? Rising up from their coffins or from their place of rest. What we see here is the coffin opening up, just beginning to get unstuck. And it's kind of like, I was talking to Libra about this, it's coming out of a cocoon of energy. And you're that butterfly that's just trying to push its way out. So you're somewhere between here and here this month when we're looking at career. And a breakthrough is imminent, but it isn't quite here yet. And as I look at a deeper connection here for the three major categories, I'm going to try to help you find your breakthrough moment. As I mentioned, we're going to look at three categories. Those that currently have a job. This includes entrepreneurs. Then we're going to look at job seekers. Then we'll look at students and retirees. If you currently have a job, what I mentioned earlier, this is important. Organization. Making sure not just that you're organized, but that all that you're doing actually yields a result, that there's a return on the energy. Some of you are at this pivotal point where you're thinking, is this all that I want to do before I retire, before I do the next thing? I like to take things that could potentially add up to a regret and just make them a goal. So if this was my last day on the planet and then I went into spirit, if I look back and thought, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I try this? Then I just use those as bucket list items. So this could be an opportunity for you to say, now is the time. If not now, then when? This is also for some of you just feeling like you've outgrown the situation. This is a confining situation. So if you're in a place where you're not allowed to stretch, not allowed to grow, not allowed to really connect with this, then it's time. It definitely is time. Stick around for the next piece, which will be job seeking. But the good news for many of you is where there's a will, there's a way. Sometimes we have to know what we don't want in order to know what it is that we want. You can pivot if you want to and stay where you're at, but what's necessary is communication. I would like this. This is why I should do it. This is how I can do it. And we definitely get a card here. This is a celebration here, the Three of Cups, and this is a fulfillment card here, the Star. So you can bring something to reality here, but it is a matter of speaking it into existence. And that can be the hardest time sometimes, speaking up and saying, I want this, but I encourage that. Now, for everybody else, let's say you want to stay in your current job, you're not looking to stretch, and you just want to understand how to maximize the results in the month ahead. What I see for many of you is a potential new person coming into the mix. Judgment can show someone retiring, someone quitting, someone being laid off, but a new person coming in. It does look like it's more in leadership or boss because the Star is connected to it. This could also be advantageous, though. There could be an opening, and you could go for that opening. So something or someone is kind of exiting out, and it's space. It's a sandbox here where you can decide, like, maybe I want to go for that. Okay, so I like that. And if there's either an arbitrary or an actual glass ceiling, if there's any sort of limit, let's just put it that way, this is a time to push through it. And that's going to be your deciding factor. If you push and you still receive pushback, then it's time to look beyond. But it's heartening that the Star card is in the outcome, and the Star card rather, and then we have the Knight of Swords here in the near future. Things could change quickly. So I think this is a month where there can be a lot of progress and a lot of movement. Things to avoid: negative or limiting thoughts. People in your environment that you can't make happy, just take it with a grain of salt and move on to the next thing. I think it's a really good time for training, for school, anything that helps you feel stronger and more empowered. Now is the time to do that. Ultimately, it's a pretty good spread, and there's nothing here that shows like immediate cause for concern. It's just this: there's a change that's happening, and you have to decide if you're on board with that. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, it's time to go bold. Go big, go bold. And I think that for many of you, it's also like a launch period too. So if there was something that you were waiting for and you're like, when's the green light? When should I do this? Now is the time with the Knight of Swords. Judgment card shows me that people are ready to receive it. And I would say make sure that you're not diluting the vision. With the Star card in reverse, sometimes we, at the last minute, pull back just a little bit. Be bold and see the vision all the way through. I think the biggest opportunity right now can also be in evaluating sort of like prices of your services or your products. You can make a profit this month. You can turn a profit. There may have been a lot of investment. Now it's time to make sure that you're not giving everything away. And I know that for a lot of different businesses, that can be a model where it's like get a month free or 20% off. I would actually encourage fewer discounts in this period of time. Really just set a price that's fair and work on the marketing of why people should connect with your brand or your service. For those of you that are job seeking, I like that we see the Two of Wands. This is basically connecting to your ability to show up as a thought leader, as a visionary, as someone who has a creative perspective. And even in career areas that aren't normally seen as creative, it is your creativity that is going to set you apart. This is where you can basically have the breakthrough. We also see the person looking at the globe. So you might be looking at a company that has global reach. You may be looking at a job that's out of your city, state, or country. You could also be just looking at a bigger idea than you've done before. Again, getting you out of this limiting way of thinking, working, being. There could also be an open-ended contract that's coming through. Be mindful of making sure that you're covered on that there's, at least a certain amount of time that you can depend on. But that's one thing that I see is there could be a little bit of resistance in someone hiring you full time. And that's frustrating. I've worked as a freelancer, and I know that one of the biggest setbacks is like just a lack of benefits, more personal output when it comes to like insurance and things of that nature. So you want to make sure if you're going to do freelance work that you're getting paid more for sure. This is a great time for negotiation. So many of you may be looking at this saying, Nicholas, this is great. How long is it going to take and where am I going to find it? So The where could be, again, not exactly where you're at. So definitely having a larger geographical net that you're casting, that's going to be important. The when, what I like about the Two of Wands is it's just one step from the three, which is in real time. So we're looking at a few weeks, hopefully no more than a month, but it's a matter of making sure that you're completely open and looking at all of the options. If you are too narrow in what you can do or where you can do it, that is going to limit the possibilities. So make sure that you're thinking outside of the box. And also for some of you, this is a chance, we have reinvention here. If you wanted to try something radically different, now is the time to do that. Someone may look at you and say, I love all of this experience. Have you ever thought about this? It's a new application of your skills. And if you're open to it, it might actually be like the next best track for you, the next big thing. What I'm doing now was initially something that someone said, you're very good at production. And at the time, I was like, yeah, but I'm supposed to be a creative director. They were right. But it took me a decade to really understand that and to realize that. Don't allow it to take as long for you. If there's something where a person aligns you to something and they say, this could be perfect, give it a shot. What have you got to lose? Don't let this energy get in the way. Don't let a lack of experience or imagination get in the way. I feel like you could open some doors. So a couple of weeks, we might see some traction. A couple of months, you should be more in a solid place. An offer could be coming through this month. I did get an energy of shorter term or contract. Challenge that or see if you can get something a little bit longer, a little bit more stable. I do think it could be temp to perm, so you could end up getting a permanent position, providing that you do a great job, which I know you're capable of. If you want to go back to school again, training is really good right now. And I just think immersing yourself in anything that makes you feel a sense of enrichment or empowerment, this is a great time for that. So whether it's a seminar, a podcast, or going to a class, it doesn't have to be for credit. It's just that feeling of I'm working on myself. That's going to be key. It's who you know, not just what you know. And that's why I think it's important to get out. And if you're not mixing and mingling, you could also be communicating with your network, with people that you know, saying, hey, it's been a while since we've talked, and I'm sorry to bother you on this, but I'm looking for this type of work. I know you're connected. Have you heard anything? Definitely reach out and use your networking capabilities. You could make something happen here. Okay. I also see that one of the reasons it could be taking longer is you set your sights on something bigger. This could be, again, a boss type job, a leadership level job, or a place where you have a chance to have a say. The star has a lot of creative control, and it's sometimes a dime a dozen. It's hard to find things like that in the general sort of like job pool. This is why for both people that are employed and looking, entrepreneurial opportunities are also knocking. This is one of the best boss cards. This is a great boss card. What's lacking from the spread, but it's in the environment here, could be resources. So you might need to seek some external funding or maybe do it in a partnership to make it happen. Okay, for those that are students, here's what I see for you. Stress management is coming through as the biggest block. I'm not worried about you being able to do what's on your plate or like be successful, but there's a lot going on stress-wise. There could be something, again, out of your control, something that's going on with friends, family, or in your life, and it's just a little bit heavy right now. So finding a way to get the support that you need is important. I think it's also really good right now to look a couple years in advance. So whether you're starting or you're midway through your studies, or even if it's the last semester, this is the time to have conversations with your guidance counselor, with the dean, with other people out in the industry, and say, how did you do this? What should I be adding to my, course load, and what kind of internship should I be taking? For many of you, I think this is the perfect time to plan an internship that's out of country. That was something that I did between graduate school and undergraduate. It was non-credit. I didn't need the credit. I just wanted the experience. And so I went to another country and, worked there. And it helps broaden your perspective, not just on, if you like, your current industry, but how other people approach it in other countries. So that was one of the best experiences that I had. I did several internships in the US, but I did one in the UK, and I had a really good time doing that. So highly recommend getting out of your comfort zone and your country and seeing the world a little bit. That's coming through here for students. Retirees, first and foremost, it's a great time for you. There's still a little bit of mourning. So like when you walk away from something that felt really like a part of your life, it is almost like, you have to sort of mourn that chapter. But what's next can be very, very fun. You can paint with all the colors in the Crayola box, and you can try something very, very different. I keep getting self-improvement and education. You might decide to just learn something new just because, but I am getting an educational aspect. We have a travel energy with this as well, but it is in a planning stage. So it might be something that you're planning next year or the year after. There might be something first that you're doing for personal development. The biggest opportunity is to make new friends right now. And that's not always the first thing that you might be thinking of, but when you find other people that are like-minded in a similar position that are trying to, maybe it's empty nest, maybe it's, just after having a regular job, like, what do I do now? Who am I? You're not alone in that sort of self-searching energy. So find some people that are in the same boat. This could help open you up and get you past the block. Let's move on now to love and relationships. All right, the central theme this month is power dynamics, and we had the card reverse. So for some of you, this could be about reclaiming power, establishing boundaries, or just speaking your mind if there's something that you need or you want, setting expectations. Let's break this down into 3 categories. We're going to look at those in a relationship, looking for love, single and happy. We're going to start off with those in a relationship. I'm going to assume first that things are stable in the relationship and then read the challenging cards as external forces. So if everything's good in your relationship, there are a couple of things this month that are coming through. First of all, it feels like one partner is doing pretty well. The star card shows that there is just some positive traction on one side of the relationship. The judgment card is where the opportunity to move is really present. This could be you. This could be you deciding, I need to try this or I need to go there. And it could be challenging sometimes if the partner's doing well. But even if it's flipped around and you're doing well and your partner's trying to deal with, a change in job, some health issues, something else, this is where the two of you can just show up and say, I believe in you. That's really all you have to do. You don't have to fix it. You can listen, you can support, you can ask how to help. Other things that I see going on, there could just be a little bit of stress management that needs to be dealt with. And the best way here is to talk it out, but also to make some plans together. Let the partner know that you're thinking about them. Even if some geographical distance separates you, make plans for meeting up, for a reunion, for reconnecting. It also seems like there could be other people weighing into your business, and honestly, it's none of their business, and don't give it much mind. There may also be a chance for the two of you to get out of maybe a little bit of a rut and to mix, to mingle, to have some fun. So it might be time to organize a party as well. Overall, the cards are fairly good. This is the only one that kind of alerts me, and this could show that one person isn't really open to receive criticism. Again, it could just be your inner saboteur, but it also might be a challenge if you're trying to offer advice or constructive criticism and the partner just shoots it down. Try it at a different time, okay? Healing and dealing with change, those are the biggest challenges, but thankfully we do have a communication card helping that out. If things are tricky right now, for some of you, this is a kind of like when we were looking at those that were employed. It's kind of like, do I stay, do I go? There's a lot of reason to stay with the Knight of Swords and the Star card. There's a deep connection, there's good communication, but there could be, for those of you that are having some challenges, there could be another person in the mix. This could be an in-law, this could be a previous partner, this could just be someone that's kind of inserting themselves where they don't need to be. I would remove that person from the equation and really think about, where do the two of you sit? Where is the balance? At the end of the day, remember that you both have something to bring to that equation. As long as you celebrate that, it's going to be all right. Let's focus on those that are seeking love. Can you find it? Absolutely. I have multiple opportunities coming through for love, as well as a way to kind of graft all of these together. But before I look at all of the potential partnerships, I think it is important to pay attention to emotional healing. I think that it's also really important to look at if there's anything or anyone that you need to sort of remove or create space from this month to do that. And then also simply just an encouragement to get out there and to mix and mingle. Self-care, and then put yourself out there. And it feels like there should be a lot of different people coming through. So I want to look at it in two different perspectives. These three cards can actually represent one person and their different aspects. What we see is if you find someone this month, things could move quickly. Knight of Swords represent fluid conversation. It's easy. You make a lot of plans together. It just kind of moves fast. We see someone who really wants to settle down, and one or both of you not that interested in long-term dating. So this could get serious quickly. What I do see about this person is they're successful. They know who they are. And I think they want the same from you. So the one thing that you can really focus on is getting clear on your goals, your interests, and not feeling like you have to adjust who you are to try to impress this person. They're more impressed when you're just yourself, when you're natural. That's a good thing. Okay, this could also just be three different people showing up. The first one is outspoken. It should be easy to connect with them. It could be an air sign, or it could just be someone that's bold and makes the first move. Another person here is, again, very grounded, very much wanting to find someone to build a life with, and they're sick of dating. So they may be wanting to know quickly, like, where do you stand? There can also be a karmic relationship with someone here, and they kind of take your breath away. Remember here that they are drawn to you in the same way that you are drawn to them. Therefore, they're not out of your league. Don't put that in your headspace. You're exactly in the same league. You're exactly where you need to be. And that's my gift to you. So just enjoy it and don't kind of like psych yourself out of that. Okay? But self-healing first, and then you can kind of deal with this. I would say a little bit more discernment would be good. Just really deciding what kind of a person you're looking for, not so much in looks, but like, again, are you ready to settle down? Do you want to date more? Do you want to travel? Like, figure out what it is you're looking for in life and in a partner, and that can help the universe sort of shift some of these other distractions out, so it's maybe just that star energy at the end. Okay? If you're single and happy, much like we were looking at with retirees, there is almost a call to try something different here and explore the world a little bit. It's a perfect time to take your business or your finances to the next level. And really, there's an encouragement here to do something different. Reinvent yourself. No one's judging you. It's just you. So have some fun this month. Let's move on to your destiny card. We have the White Rose of Hope. And for those of you that are tarot fans, just like me, you know that there are two cards in particular that have a white rose or a white flower on them. One of them is the card of beginnings, the Fool. See in his hand right there, he has the rose. The other one is the Banner of the Death card. So these also represent what? An end and a beginning. And now we have here what comes through that carries us through these periods, which is hope. So we have three. The three can connect to a lot of different power cards in tarot. Three of Pentacles, basically being seen, being appreciated. Three of Cups, which you got, which was celebration. Three of Swords, which was at the center, which is healing. And the only one missing is Three of Wands, which for many of you that are like, Nicholas, I want something now, that's the next step. That's the three that really wants to come through, I feel here. So moving through the energy of ends and beginnings with what? Hope. The White Rose of Hope. So this is a period to remain positive, to remain affirmative and hopeful. This is true even when you don't see what it is that you want. Again, just to remind you, we had the coffin coming through, and that coffin is the interim state between that and judgment. So you're in a liminal space where you know you want something, you feel something coming, it hasn't shown up yet, and it's important to stay optimistic and hopeful. This can help you manifest movement in career, in love, and in self. So far, that's actually the most important card we pulled in the entire deck because it pulls everything together. Hope is the essential piece. Positivity. That's why I talked at great length about not giving into the power of the Five of Swords. Okay, we're going to go to the next part of this reading, which is Sun, Rising, and Moon sign messages. So let's see what's coming through. Let me create a little space. Let's give the cards a shuffle. All right. Virgo, Sun, Rising, and Moon. Let's talk. In the sun sign, we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And for those of you that watch frequently, you know that I see this as a request card when it's reversed. If you want it, ask. If you notice something that is lacking or missing, speak to that. This is true also if you are doing too much work and not getting enough payment or recognition or support. Yes, I can do this, but I need this. That's all you have to do is kind of state it together. I'd be happy to help you. This is what's required. Or, I'm really interested in this. How can we make it happen? Stay powerful, stay clear, stay positive, and continue to connect with that feeling of worthiness that we've been talking about as well throughout this reading. The most important thing with an Ace of Pentacles is to show up every day and continue to nurture it. Just like an egg, it needs time, it needs protection, it needs nurturing. So this is saying that it may take a little bit more work or a little bit more time than you thought, but it's going to be worth it at the end, okay? Rising sign, Six of Cups in reverse. For many of you, there could be a feeling that some people are pulling away, and that's okay because typically whenever there's relationships in your life, this could be friends or coworkers, when you start to elevate and go to a new level, or they do as well, it sometimes takes a little bit of time for people to recalibrate. So as one person goes up, there's a choice for the other person to go up. If not, they may stay here or they may fall away. What you're doing is making room for the star energy that was at the end of the spread here. So hold space for this, which is someone who really sees you. It's like soulmate energy. If you're looking for love, if you're looking for partnership, or you're looking for an opportunity, don't settle for less. That's the main takeaway here. Lean into the inner child energy here, something that you really, really loved as a kid or when you were first starting out, but you've maybe drifted away from. Move back into something that creates joy and community. That's also it. So we have a couple of great cards here showing that it's not how many people, 3 and 6 of Cups. We really just have 2 or 3 people in each card. Focus on the quality of the relationships, not the quantity. And that's the last takeaway here for Rising. Now looking at Moon, fantastic way to wrap up Sun, Rising, and Moon. We have an upright Queen of Swords, and there's a synchronicity. Around the Queen, we have bees. And back at the beginning, we had a card saying, learn from the bees. So this is your chance to learn from thought leaders, from people that have an ability to really make things happen, and lean into your own queen bee energy. So for Virgo Moon especially, we have the queen bee herself coming through, saying this is your moment. Don't second guess yourself. Stand up. Speak it into existence. Use your communication skills as well. All right, now let's take a look at one final card, one final question. Anything that you might need a little bit of clarity on. Let me give the cards a shuffle as you organize that thought or that question, and we'll see what Spirit has to say. I love it. The reason I love it is these are, to me, the 2 most powerful cards together. So let's chat about it. First of all, as a yes or no, the queen, she is a queen in her own right, but the High Priestess is an emphatic yes. However, she requires you to see it in your mind's eye in order to recognize it when it comes through in a synchronicity. And what's important here is a combination of envisioning and basically planning and doing everything you can to set it into your third eye and into your horizon. So take time to visualize, take time to meditate, connect with the white rose of hope, which of course is on 2 of the most powerful cards, as we said, the beginnings card and the ending card, and that we see that this month there is a perceived sort of like stagnation, but it is just a perception because ultimately you're at that precipice of a breakthrough. So keep on seeing the possibilities. Yes, you can make it happen. You have to believe in yourself, and you really should be setting up time in your schedule to meditate, to work on the vision work, and in doing so, you're going to make something happen sooner rather than later. Overall, I love what I saw this month. Let's do a couple quick reviews, and then we'll go to just a wrap up here. So just to kind of bring it all together, one of the most interesting things here in the deep past is just that for many of you, You give away a lot, but this is a chance to ask for more. We see that in the environment. We see a chance to manifest your dream here when we looked at that final card as well. Reach beyond perceived blocks. Keep reaching for the stars. Back to the chameleon. This is a time to stand out, to make a splash. And in doing so, you'll be one step closer to bringing a dream to reality. All right, guys, that's everything for this month. If you enjoyed this, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. You can also give me a follow on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on all major platforms. All of this is on my website as well as my YouTube channel main page. Remember, I don't offer private readings. If you ever see somebody doing that, block, report, let me know about it. Stay safe. A way to give back is through memberships, through super stickers and super chat. All of these things help me basically do more videos just like this. So in advance, I would just like to say an emphatic thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make some time to also check out my daily and weekly videos, also on my main channel page. Until I see you next time, wishing you all the best.